create legacy. For private. This is how leaders move. Every decision creating something bigger than before. Business, family, community, prosperity. One vision,
Hello.
one standard.
Welcome to the Forward Progress Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Manuel, and it's been a long time coming, but we're here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. And this podcast is called Forward Progress. A lot of people say, well, why'd you name it Forward Progress? Because in the game of football, if you're familiar with football, go Commanders, you realize, you find that when a runner is running the ball, when someone catches the ball and they get past the first down marker, yet somebody pulls them back, they still get credit for making the first down, even though they were tackled behind the line. And so I want you to know that in life, it's like that a lot of times. You've done the work, you put in the effort, you tried your best to succeed, and something seems to yank you back. Something seems to put the yoke on you or pull you back behind the line. But this is a space where we're going to get credit and we're going to move forward. I titled the name of this first podcast, These Goals Ain't Loyal. These goals ain't loyal. And the reason why is because our goals are something that we tend to chase after. You know, we want to lose weight. We want to get in shape. We want to earn a certain amount of money. We want to purchase a certain house. We want to close a deal. We want to win a contract. Whatever it is, you know, you want to win a sporting event or competition. So we set goals. And how many know that a dream that's not written down, it doesn't have a timeline and or a budget, is just that, dreaming. But we set goals. And I've gone through all of this doing New Year's and doing, my birthday. Just had a birthday last week, by the way, and set goals. But what often happens to those goals we call resolutions? What often happens to those goals that we call these markers that we set for ourselves is that we do them for 2 or 3 weeks and then we stop. These goals ain't loyal. Say this out loud with me. I am focused on my goals. I am focused on my goals. And come hell or high water, I'm going to accomplish what I set out to do. Why? Because you are the definition of perseverance. You are the very definition of people, of someone who is able to rise above and circumvent circumstances and situations. You find a way to make it. You find a way to hit your mark. You find a way to get your numbers. You know how to make the ends meet. I'm focused on my goals. And what exactly is that? Following one course until successful. They say, I'd rather be a jack of all trades than a master of none, but it's better than the master of one. But I say, follow one course until successful. Do the thing that you know to do the best correctly, and everything else will fall in line. If you are a great speaker, then speak. You don't necessarily need an audience. Just speak. If you are a great writer, then write. Whatever it is that you set out to do, to put your hands to do, to accomplish, to lay hold on, to seize that moment, that is what you should do. And everything else will follow behind that. It doesn't really matter what it is, whether you want a higher income, whether you want to lose the weight so you can feel great, whether you want a brand new body, come on, whether it is that you want to take the next level, take the next step in your journey. It's about following one course until you're successful and doing the successful thing that you know to do well. For example, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, you think they sell chicken. And while they do sell the Lord's chicken, Chick-fil-A does one thing well, and that's great customer service. That is what makes Chick-fil-A unique, and that is what sets them above the competition, is the customer service is superior when you go to Chick-fil-A. And it's the same everywhere you go. Their branding is not chicken per se, as much as it is customer service. They found the one thing that they do well, and they did it, and they do it. Back during my junior year in college and undergrad, I sold cars. I sold cars at Rosenthal, Chevrolet, Chrysler, and Jeep. And my sales manager at the time, Hal Farrington, he told me, we were talking about baseball, and he said, you know, Ray, people don't buy the car, they buy you. They don't buy the car, they buy you. When you walk in, you are a brand. When people see you, what do they say? When people hear your voice, do they hear confidence and self-esteem? Do they hear someone who knows the product knowledge and is well versed on how the machine operates? When they hear your voice, are you an expert in your field? Are you a trusted advisor? Are you a well-connected resource? And this is what it means to follow the course until you're successful. Doing what you do well and doing it very well, so well that you are the best at doing it. I started out this journey a long time ago. I was 10 years old, and I was working at my sister's grandmother's flea market in DC. And she paid me $10 a day. She paid me $10 a day. And my job, my responsibility was to unload the truck, set up the tables, put the tablecloths down, go into the bins, take out her knickknacks and her jewelry and her dishes and her books. We sold all kind of stuff. It was like a small little convenient little antique store, little music store, all mixed into one. And we would sell, and she would pay me $10. I would have to set up, and I would have to break down in the evening, and she fed me on the house. So at least I got a free meal, but everything else I was paid for. And so I had got to the place where I said, you know, this is good, but I needed more money. And I kept asking for a raise. And she said, look, you know, I got to make money too. This is an opportunity I'm providing. I'm giving you an opportunity. And so one day I would go around, I would take some of my money and I would buy things. And one day I came to her and I said, listen, I'd like to have an advance on my pay. She gave me an advance, and I went to a friend of mine who had baseball cards. And I bought 2 boxes of baseball cards from him. I spent all my money, and I bought those baseball cards. And I said, do you mind if I set my baseball cards up on your table so that I can try to make me some money? She said, sure, Ray Charles, I don't mind. That was a little nickname I had as a kid. And so I set up the baseball cards on her table. And I made more money that day than she paid me in an entire month. And that's when I knew I would be an entrepreneur. That's when I knew I had the gift of gab and I had sales skills. We have to work on that. Following one course, and everything that I've ever done and everything I've ever accomplished I learned in that small moment of being able to find someone who had a product that I could sell for a profit, and finding a place where I partnered with someone. I subcontracted with my sister's grandmother to get a profit for myself. Here's a thought. You can only get but so much from someone else's pockets. You can only get but so much from someone else's pockets. And that's really the thing that I would push here, because one of the things that happened is once I started selling those baseball cards, I still did the job, you know, so that I would have a place to sell them, but I knew I would make more money selling my cards. I still have the entire 1983 Baltimore Orioles championship team collection in my possession at this time. It's still with me. And not to mention, it's fun because I like connecting with people. Like I'm sitting here talking to you. I like the connection. I feel that energy. Why? Because I thrive. I'm an extrovert. I thrive on the connection with other people. And so sales and marketing and closing contracts and writing deals and interacting with small businesses is just right up my alley. I just want to ask this one question. When you really think about it, are you a self-starter? Are you someone who needs the push, needs the motivation? Do you do journaling in the morning? Do you read? Do you do an inspirational quote? Do you spend time in meditation, maybe in prayer? Whatever it is that you need to do to center yourself so that you're good, so that when you go forward to sell whatever or to close that deal or to make whatever happen as far as your goals go, that you yourself are in a good space to be able to accomplish it. Because what actually happens why I'm asking that question is these goals aren't loyal. It's not necessarily about the goals. What it really becomes about is the process. It is the process of focusing that gets you to the goal. So the goals aren't loyal. The goal itself, it doesn't matter what it is. You can accomplish what you will. I believe it was Benjamin Elijah Mays that said, it's not that we actually obtain the goal. The real sin is that we set the goal so low that we actually reached it. So it is low aim that's the sin. Because you didn't try hard enough. You didn't set the bar high enough. And because you didn't set the bar high enough, you actually accomplished the low level goal. Okay, I want to lose 3 pounds. But you know you need to lose 80. So it's not that it's anything wrong with getting the 3 pound accomplishment. But then what happens when you reach that small goal? Now you want to go eat ice cream and cake as if you accomplished some big thing. Well, you got 77 more pounds to lose. So you can't stop there. We don't want to aim low. We want to aim high. We want to supersede the standard. We want to go beyond the call of duty, above and beyond what we can think, dream, or even imagine. And it's not for anybody else. These goals are for you. These goals are so that you can get what you say that you want for yourself. Even if you say, I did it for my kids, you did it for you. But your kids are the beneficiary. Oh, I did it because I wanted to prove the haters wrong. You did it to prove yourself right. And the haters are going to notice. So these goals aren't loyal. They're not. It's not even really about a goal. The key to sales, the key to closing deals, the key to getting that contract, are you abreast of the industry? Do you know what a contract is? Do you know how it's procured? Do you know who does the procurement process? Do you know in which step the procurement process where the execution actually happens? Where it really happens at? Where the goals really happen? Where the contract really closes? Is up here. It's in your mind. If you think you lost, you have. If you think you defeated, you are. If you think you can't win, you won't. I can guarantee you, if you've already convinced yourself and talked yourself out of the place where you could be successful, if you've already convinced yourself and talked yourself out of a space which was created for you, and if they don't have one there for you, then you have to make space yourself. And that's not going to be cute, and that's not going to be easy, and folk ain't going to like it, but you need to do some furniture moving. I don't know who that's for. You need to do some furniture moving this year. Push the couch out the way. Come on, act like we about to have a dance party. Push the couch out the way. Stack the chairs up on the table. Turn on the music and make some room. Because it's room for everybody to be successful. It's room for everyone to accomplish their goals. It's room for everybody to have. At the banquet table of life, there are no assigned seats. There are no assigned seats. You get what you can hold. If you can't hold nothing, you won't get nothing. And if you can't get nothing, you won't keep nothing. And you can't keep anything without organization. You need to be organized in your mind and convinced that you can accomplish what you will. Up you mighty people and accomplish what you will. Why? Because I've set in my mind that I've already won the deal. It's already mine. I can see the dotted line where I've signed, and I can see that the money and the revenue is coming into the business, and I can see where we're going to look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. And I'm not selling because I'm building something. How did KPMG get here? Build it. How did Deloitte get here? Somebody built it. How did Lockheed get here? Someone built it. Not only will they come if you build it, but if you consistently and diligently practice your work and work your plan and plan your work, it will happen for you. And no one person is an island. You got to find like-minded people to be in the circle with you, to grow and to go, so that you can reach the goals that you've been focusing on. That's what happened with me. I started out selling baseball cards. And then I got into doing tele-research and telemarketing back when that was a thing. I was very good at that. I've done security systems for Sloman Shields. I have done the flat fee on the gas and electric bill. I went door to door and business to business, in the heat, in the cold, in the rain, hardcore sales. I did it and was successful at it. 100% commission. I sold cars. When I sold my first car, I was this guy walked into the dealership, and he was his clothes were tattered, and he didn't smell very pleasant, and he had on a baseball cap, and he asked to look at a Chrysler Crossfire, which was a very nice car back then in 2003. And so we went on a test drive, and I actually got lost during the test drive, but he knew the area better than me. I was a new car salesman. And we went back, and we got back to the shop, and we were talking, and we had a great conversation. And when he went in the finance office, he had one of the best credit scores they'd ever seen. And you think they were doing 800s back then. And he was some type of surgeon, and he made more than enough. He bought the car in cash. It was a wedding gift for his daughter. See, if I'd have judged the book by its cover, if I had treated that man any less than I would treat any other customer, I wouldn't have had my first sale. My second sale came not long after that. I sold a young newlywed couple a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And those were some nice cars, big cars back then. And we went on a test drive, and he asked me a question. He said, how long is the seat length, the trunk length with the seat down? And we let the seats down, opened up the trunk. And I said, hold on. And I ran in the service bay, and I got the measuring tape. I came back out. We measured the seat length in the trunk. He said, I already knew what it was. I just wanted to see if you knew and if you would tell me the truth. It's not about the goal. I just wanted to be successful at what I did. I wasn't worried about the money. I made more money selling cars at that time than I ever saw in my life at that time. I made a lot more money doing government contracts on the federal, state, and local level than I did when I sold cars. But what I'm trying to drive home to you is that it wasn't about the cars. It wasn't even about the money. I presented an experience to the customer that they could not forget. I presented an experience to the customer that made them comfortable enough to purchase. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. When you set goals, set the right goal. What are you really trying to accomplish here? Is it really just about the money? No, all money does is give you access. All money does is give you choices. All money does is provide you with freedom, but it's a reason behind all of that. And that is the purpose of the goal. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be able to make a connection with my customer and create an experience. And in me doing that, I made great money. And in me doing that, I formed lasting relationships. And in me doing that, I grew as a person. I believe it was Jay-Z who said, you shouldn't worry about what you're getting paid. Be concerned about what you're becoming in the process of getting paid. It's not that I'm this great salesman. It's that I believe in connecting with people and I love people. And that's what makes my salesmanship great. And so our goals aren't loyal to us. We need to focus on one course until successful. We need to build ourselves into a brand that that people can connect to and resonate with. We need to provide an experience that people will feel comfortable in purchasing and buying. I want you to say this out loud with me. Nobody will outwork me. Nobody will outwork me. I am going to work my butt off. I am going to accomplish what I will because I'm going to put in the time and the energy and the effort and the sweat equity more so than anyone else. And so my thinking is different. My mindset has shifted. My conversation has changed. Why? Because out of the mouth, the mind, it starts. The seed is in the mind, it comes out the mouth. And so even the people I'm talking to, even the people I'm interacting with, even my circle has changed. My group dynamics have become different. And so what are you saying? I'm saying that when you start to go after your goal, there are some things that got to be left behind. There are some people who can't go on the journey with you. There are some folks who, by virtue of the fact that y'all are going in two different directions, that they have to fall off. And that's okay. Because the goal isn't loyal. The process by which you're going through like what the caterpillar does when it goes into the cocoon. And the caterpillar goes into that cocoon and literally it is locked away and sealed away and isolated from other people. But after a while, what happens? You begin to see that cocoon break open. And it said that if you go and you open that cocoon for the butterfly, it will never fly. Why? Because it's strength in the wings that they need to flap their wings. When they break open that cocoon, that is necessary. Sometimes you can't get the help that you need while you're on the journey to accomplishing your goals because you need that strength. I remember when I was coming through in college and we learned a poem that says, we are not here to play, dream, or drift. We have burdens to move and heavy loads to lift. Shun not the struggle, for it is God's gift to be strong. How do you become strong? The struggle. And it was Frederick Douglass who said, without struggle, there is no progress. So in order to get to forward progress, there is going to be some sort of struggle. The defenders do not want you to get the first down in your life. They don't want you to get the first contract. They don't want you to win your first million. They don't want you to win your first 50 million, 100 million, your first $1 billion contract. Yes, there are contracts for $1 billion out there and more. They don't want you to win. So they snatch you back behind the line, not knowing that all I need to do is extend my arm a little further and I'll get the first down. All I got to do is make sure my helmet breaks the plane and I got the touchdown. You're going to get to first and goal after you get enough first downs to get you in the red zone. And then once you do, you're going to score a touchdown. That's what's going to happen in your progress, in your focusing, in moving forward, and moving the chains and moving the needles in your life. Little by little, inch by inch, line by line, it's all happening for you. It's all lining up for you. It's all going in the direction it's supposed to go. Even when there are setbacks, there are just setups for comebacks, because it's impossible not to go forward if you are chasing after your goal, if you are focused on the process. Even if you take 2-3 steps back, that just means you got to throw the ball further. That just means the receiver got to be in the right place. Can you catch the ball? Have you set it up for yourself where you can receive the ball so that you can score and accomplish your goal? That's the object of football, is to score the touchdown. That's the object of basketball. That even if it takes 53 years, I'm still going to win a championship. Forward, ever, and backwards, never. Nobody will outwork you. And the goal is not necessarily the outcome. That's going to happen if you continue the process. It's who you become in the process. That's what it's about. Focus on how many people you can help, how many problems you can solve, because people are paid based on the problems that they solve. The level at which you are paid right now is contingent upon the problem that you are able to solve. For someone, for yourself, for society, for the community. A lot of people like to complain, but what are you doing to make the situation better? A lot of people like to gripe, but what are you doing to improve the circumstances by which people are being inconvenienced? Are you cleaning up your community? Or do we have to wait for the landscape company to come do it? Are you someone who is fixing a problem, a social ill, a social concern? Are you someone that is willing to put forth the effort, and not just in business, but the responsibility to the community that you have that supports your business? So many business owners just do business and that's it. And they take care of their family, and look, and I applaud you for that. But if you want to be great, if you want to go forward, if you want to go and grow 100-fold, you got to do something to help somebody else who can't pay you back. The goals aren't loyal. The process is the process. You got to plan the work and work the plan. And like someone told me yesterday, planning and planning and planning and planning and planning and planning, that don't do nothing. It's just on paper. At some point, you got to execute. Now, at some point, you got to put the step forward. At some point, you got to step out of the boat and be able to step onto the water. Why the water? Because the water is unstable. The water is unsettling. The water is rocky. You might get seasick because of the uncertainty of what you're standing on. But you can make the liquid solid if you convince in your mind that no matter what, you're going to accomplish it. No matter what, we're going to the other side. No matter what, I'm going to get what I set out to get. In my mind, I already have it. There is a you that exists that already has what it is that you're looking for. You just have to become that person. There is a you that is a multimillionaire. There is a you that has a new house. There is a you that has the spouse you're looking for. There is a you that has a car, your dream car that you want to drive. There is a you that has the six-pack and the body. There is a you that is whoever you want to be. It exists already in a parallel dimension. But you have to be able to become that person. Because if you get it before you become that person, you won't hold it. And you won't keep it. And you can't get it all without organization. The goals are just the plan. That's why they're not loyal. And it's subject to things changing. It's subject to weathers and storms that happen throughout the journey of life. How do we continue on the process of forward progress? It's not even about achieving. It's not even about receiving. It's about what you can give. It's about giving of yourself. I want to be in a position where I can just give stuff to folks who need it. I want to be in a position. You want the multi-millions for what? So you can floss, so you can stunt on people? Or do you want it so that you could be a help to someone who's in need? Do you want it so you could give employment to people who need it? When I stopped selling cars and I started doing the window siding and doors and I started going door to door, business to business, it was difficult. It was hard, but I kept doing what I was doing because I knew that I was helping somebody in the process who maybe could not afford both utilities. And I was able to give them a flat fee and lock it in so that they had that and they knew it was a set price each month. I did it to be able to help the people who needed help getting transportation. Maybe didn't have the credit, needed a little help, needed a little second chance. I did it for those folks. That's why. If you don't know the why, then why you even try? You gotta know the why to try. Once you're convinced of the why, all you gotta do is try. If you take the first step, the next step will reveal itself. If you take the next step, then the next step will reveal itself. Some things do not come into fruition until you start to make the next step. When the old adage goes that when you step on the first stair, then the staircase will appear. I believe it was Dr. King who said that we have a life's blueprint. And that if you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. And if you can't be a tree, be a bush. Whatever it is, be the best at it that you can be. I am the best at what I do. I am the greatest. When Muhammad Ali declared that I am the greatest, people thought he was full of conceit, but it was confidence. People thought that he was arrogant and full of himself, but he was confident in his ability, in his training, in his dedication, in what he believed about who he was that made him the greatest. And that's who I am, and that's who you are. If you're watching me, this is a step in the staircase. This is a notch in the belt for you to be able to go forward. Forward ever, backwards never. You looking ahead. When I ran track, and I ran for a brief time, I did the open 1600 and 800 meter relay. And one of the things we learned when we ran track was that if you keep the baton ahead of you and you chase the baton while you're running, you'll be faster than the person next to you. Not only that, when we passed the baton, we didn't look back. We reached our hand back, but we kept looking forward. We reached our hand back, but we kept looking forward. When you focus on your goals, when you follow one course until you're successful, when you understand the goals aren't loyal, it's about the process of becoming the person who can accomplish the goal, then you're able to reach your hand back and pull somebody else up. You're able to get to a place that you're so successful, you can train others and you can pass the baton. My friends, my listeners that are here today, I'm wrapping this up. And I want you to know, you got to be sure. If you think you can't, you won't. You can't be against your own mind and think that you're going to get anything or accomplish anything. You're your own worst enemy. You stepping in your own way. That's why it took me this time to be able to sit in front of this camera and tell this story to you. Because I was worried about whether my hair was cut the right way, or whether or not I had the right outfit on, whether or not I had the certain weight, or whether or not I really had the right topics, or how I was going to sound, or how I was going to come across. But I woke up one day and said, you know what? Little by little, I said, okay, let me make the connection with the studio. Maybe let me pay for this session. Let me do this. Let me do that. And finally, I woke up and I said, you know what? Today's the day. I'm tired of playing around. No matter how it comes out, I'm going to go and do what I know I'm supposed to do. I'm going to go and do what I said I was going to do. Because if you don't keep your promise to yourself, you'll lie to everybody you talk to. I just said something right there. If you don't keep the promise to yourself, you will lie to everybody else that you talk to. Because this above all, Shakespeare said it, to thine own self be true. You can't convince nobody else to make an investment or take a chance on you because you have not. Yeah, no, I'm talking to you. I'm looking right at you. I'm talking to you. If you can hear my voice, if you can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, that's who I'm talking to. You, the one that's behind this camera looking at me, know you supposed to step out there. No, you make the best fried chicken in the world and don't nobody know about it but you and your kids. You make the best cupcakes and you bake the best desserts in the world and don't nobody else know about it. You know how many millionaires came out of the pandemic because doors closed in their face because they tried to get the first down and somebody yanked them back? Or they got there and they were stopped just short? Well, if you on 4th and inches, if you on 3rd and long, if you got the game on the line and this is your one play that you need to score or to keep your season alive, that's why I'm here, to help you get across the line, to help you get into the end zone, to help you score the goals in your life, but to make you understand that it is about process. And I keep repeating that because that's really how you accomplish goals. The goals aren't loyal. And from this day forward, I don't even want you to set goals. I want you to have must. Write down 5 things that you must do. I must do this. I must eat healthy. I must stop eating after a certain time. I must put an investment in this deal. I must have this meeting or this phone call. I must accomplish this. I got to journal every day. I got to meditate every day. What are my must? Because goals can shift and change. But if you must do it, okay, just like eating, you must eat. It's only so long as you're going to go without eating and you won't be around. And you must drink water. Your body can't survive without it. It's over 70% water itself. So write down your must. And then I want you to understand that there's a state at which you can accomplish whatever you want. You just have to get to that state. There's a state at which you can convince folks to invest in you and to support you and to step into what you're doing and help you out. But you got to get folks to that state. A lot of times, and Colonel Preston, the late great Colonel Preston taught me this. He said, it doesn't really take a whole lot of people for an organization to be successful. It's about 3 to 5 people that make that whole organization go. If those 3 to 5 people weren't there, the organization would fail. It doesn't take a lot of people. You just need folks who are like-minded. When I wrote my first grant and I was able to make that happen, I got with like-minded folks and we sat down and we strategized and we came up with health, wealth, and self. And when I came up with that concept of health, wealth, and self, it was about the total individual. How can I help the total person? Because I had nonprofit. We were helping a lot of men in the community to do job interviews, get haircuts, get suits, things like that. Because my belief is that when you are gainfully employed, you're able to be a better asset to the community. And we did that. And so we got focusing on the health. Is your health in order? Focusing on your finances and your money. But it's not so much about the money. The wealth. Wealthiness is not even about the money. It's being whole everywhere. Spirit, soul, and body. It's about wholeness. That's what it really is. That's what the concept means. And the self is just knowing who you are. One of my favorite parts of Kwanzaa is Kuji Changalia because it's about self-determination. It's about naming yourself and determining for yourself who you are. How do you show up in this world? What are you here to do? You're not here to play, dream, or drift. What are you here to do? Who are you? When people say your name, what do they say? What brand do you carry? That's what that's about. And so I went along the journey of my life. I worked on my first master's. I was waiting tables. I had a knack for asking people, what do you do? What is your brand? How do you earn money? And I met a guy, he said, I'm at IT. I said, well, I graduate my master's in 3 weeks and I'm looking for a gig. And he said, call me when you graduate. And I did. And he found out I'd won these grants for Department of Mental Health and Hygiene and the Department of Health for the state of Maryland. And I won those grants. I started out doing quality assurance and writing for him. Then he said, man, and you said you sold. And yeah, I sold knives. I sold vacuum cleaners. I've sold windows, siding, and doors. I've sold cars. I mean, I can sell salt to a slug. And so he said, look, I want you to come and do business development for me. And I did the BD for him. And the next thing I know, it took about 12 to 15 months. I did a lot of meetings. My first meeting was with Department of Ed. And I kept going along the journey and learning along the way. And when I got there, I went to this conference in Norfolk, and I went in the exhibit hall, was going around giving out the capability statement, giving out the business cards. And this woman stopped me and she said, Ray, do y'all do IV&V? I didn't know what IV&V was. And I said, yeah, because listen, when you're trying to work on deals, you don't turn down nothing but you call them. I said, yeah, we do it. I called, she said, well, I'm going to call you when we get back to DC. I have something for you. And so I called an old friend. I called her up and said, hey, you remember the deal we worked on with OPM year before? We didn't get it. I said, but there's a possibility there's a deal for IV&V. Oh, Ray, I do that. Da, 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 da. Put her in touch with the principal I was working with at the time. They did a gentleman's agreement. And 20 minutes later, we were on the phone with the government and on the phone with the programming office. The next thing I know, 30 minutes, 45 minutes later, I said, look, this is just market research. We're still in the initial phases of this. And we hung up the phone. And the principal called me back. He said, Ray, congratulations. You won your first government contract. I said, how did we win? They didn't say we won. He said, oh, that's just preliminary. They have to say that. The next thing I know, that contract started out as a couple $100,000. It wound up becoming 2.1 million. That was my first deal. And I just kept going, and the rest is history. You have to be willing to talk to others. You got to be willing to open your mouth if you want to accomplish your goals. And I don't mean telling people your business, and I don't mean sharing your ideas with folks, because people will steal your ideas. What I'm saying to you is you have to place yourself in the position where there are other like-minded people who can get what it is that you want, or who can show you how to get it. I spend time with other people who work in contracting. I spend time with other people who do speaking, who do poetry, because that's what I do. So you got to find what it is that your hands are meant to do and go after it. I believe it was David who said, teach my hands to war, because business is war. That's exactly what it is. It is war. And if you want to win, you have to connect yourself and ally yourself with folks who are not necessarily focused on goals, but who must do the things that they need to do to walk through the process of where they're trying to get. And what is the reward for being successful? It's another problem to solve so you can be successful again. And you just keep going along the journey. And my senior quote was, success is not a destination, it's a journey. The race isn't given to the swift, the battle isn't given to the strong, but to those who can endure to the end. It's not about running the race and winning and accomplishing. It's how you do it. It's you in that leg and you coming around that corner and you get in that straightaway and you in your stride and you able to frog that person at the end. Don't be sad because, and don't be jealous because folk that moved ahead of you. Walk your journey. Walk through your process. Become and accomplish what you will, because it's about the process and it's about becoming. Before I go, I'd like to say that readers are leaders. So there are a couple of books that I have been focused on that I want to share with you today. This is one book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And I'm actually reading this book with my son, and we discuss it. And I agree that this is something that if you want to be successful financially or personally or otherwise and go through personal development, this is one book I would definitely recommend that you read. Another book that I'm currently getting into now is this book right here, You Deserve to Be Rich. And I think that what this is really teaching me, what I'm really learning, is about the mindset. You deserve to be rich. It's not about convincing yourself. It's about having the mindset that this is where I'm supposed to be. And this other book that I'm actually almost done with, which has showed me a lot, I got my pen in there, is Why Should White Guys Have All the Wealth? And I've actually met this person. And I think that this has taught me a lot about setting a debt-free date. It's taught me a lot about being able to accomplish goals. It's taught me a lot about giving back. This is a power pack book, and I highly recommend it because it's about mindset, but then it's also about execution. It's not so much to put things in your mind a certain way. You have to actually be able to execute and do what it is that you have planned. Well, that's all I have for y'all today. Just know that it's not about the goal. It's about forward progress. So you can go, and you can go 100-fold.
The future belongs to those who build it today. Let's make the next win the biggest one yet.